Welcome back to Murder and Mystery with Mal, the podcast where we uncover the darkest crimes hidden in the pages of Philippine history. Today we dive into one of the most shocking tragedies of the 1940s, the brutal murder of actress and singer Lilian Velez at the hands of a man who was once her co-star, Narding Anzures. This is not just a story of jealousy and obsession. It's also a story of fame, betrayal, and the dark underbelly of the entertainment industry at that time. Lilian Velez was born in 1924 in Cebu, and by the mid-1940s, she was already making a name for herself in Philippine cinema. Known for her beauty, her charm, and her singing voice, she was loved by audiences everywhere. Her breakout role came after World War II when the film industry in the Philippines was recovering. Lilian's performance offered light and hope during a time when the nation was rebuilding from devastation. It was during this time that she worked alongside a young actor named Narding Anzures. Together, they starred in movies like Binibiro Lamang and Ang Estudyante. Their on-screen chemistry captured audiences and some began to imagine them as a real-life pair. But off-screen, Lilian's life was quite different. She was happily married to another actor, Jose Climaco, with whom she shared a young daughter. To her, Narding was just a colleague, nothing more. For Narding Anzures, however, things were not so simple. He became increasingly fixated on Lilian. In his mind, their screen partnership meant something deeper. When Lilian signed a new contract with another film company, one that did not include Narding, his jealousy and frustration grew. Without her, his career began to falter. He felt abandoned, betrayed, and desperate to remain tied to her success. Friends and colleagues would later say that Narding couldn't let go of the idea that Lilian should have been his partner both on-screen and in life. And in July 1948, his obsession reached its breaking point. On the night of July 26, 1948, Narding Anzures went to Lilian's home in Quezon City. Accounts say he wanted to talk to her, to convince her to continue working with him. But when Lilian refused, an argument broke out, and in a fit of rage, Narding pulled out a butcher's knife. What followed was one of the most brutal crimes in Philippine showbiz history. Narding Anzures stabbed Lilian multiple times, killing her in her own home. He also attacked Lilian's maid, who tried to intervene. The scene shocked not just her family, but the entire nation. The beloved actress, just 24 years old, was gone. The murder was front-page news. Fans mourned Lilian while the entertainment industry reeled in disbelief. How could someone so admired and loved have her life ended so violently and by a fellow actor? Narding Anzures was quickly arrested, and during the trial, he claimed he didn't intend to kill her, that it was a crime of passion fueled by rejection and desperation. But the court saw it differently. In 1949, he was sentenced to life imprisonment, and the once promising actor would spend the rest of his life in prison, remembered not for his films, but for the crime that destroyed 2 lives. Lilian Velez's death left a permanent scar on Philippine cinema. At just 24 years old, her potential was cut short. Fans never forgot her, and she became a symbol of innocence lost to violence. The case also became a cautionary tale, a reminder that the dangers of obsession and how jealousy can turn deadly, and even today, decades later, the murder of Lilian Velez remains one of the most infamous crimes in Philippine showbiz history. That was the story of Lilian Velez and Narding Anzures, a tragedy that shocked a nation and ended the life of one of the brightest stars of Philippine cinema. If you found today's episode compelling, don't forget to follow Murder and Mystery with Mal for more stories where history and crime collide. Until next time, stay safe, stay curious, and remember, the darkest stories often hide in plain sight.